Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Business by Referral Podcast. I'm Virginia Muzquiz, the Referral Diva, and of course, I'm your host. Today's guest is Melissa Bishop. She is the founder of Live Raw, a trauma-informed coaching space built on the Raw methodology. Inspired by her own journey, Melissa helps clients cut through the noise, get honest about what's really going on, and release what's keeping them stuck: mind, body, and spirit. Through real talk, practical tools, and personalized support, she guides people towards authentic growth and lasting wellness. Welcome to the show, Melissa Bishop. How are you today, my dear?
I am wonderful, and I want to thank you for having me on the show.
It's absolutely my pleasure. Thank you for applying. One of the great things about podcasting is it is a form of elevated networking, right? It's how you meet people that you might not otherwise hear their story or get to know them or be able to connect in any other medium. So it's one of the things I love most about podcasting. So, Melissa, how long have you been an entrepreneur?
I have been an entrepreneur for about 15 years. The last 5 years just focused on my business. In the past, I've had a business on the side while I worked my full-time job. So this is full-time for the last 5 years.
That's awesome. What's your
Yeah.
background?
I have a standing career in the substance abuse industry. I opened and operated programs across the country and absolutely loved it.
It takes a special person to work
Mhm.
in that space. My daughter actually did a 4-year stint with addiction, and it was a very, like, looking back, both of us are like, that was a very interesting time, you know.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of special skill sets and an ability to hold a container for who a person truly is instead of looking at how they're behaving and the choices they're making. So
Absolutely true. But I loved seeing light bulbs come on and seeing people's lives change and seeing them become whole again. So it was really rewarding in that way.
what made you decide to sort of jump the W-2 form and become an entrepreneur on your own?
Well, I had my son was getting older and needing more mom time. And I was on the road all the time for my job. I mean, I would a lot of times leave on Sundays and not get home till Friday. And I just knew that I had done my time in that world. And I wanted to focus on more balance and have an ability to be at his games and be there, because normally it would be like, Mom, are you going to be on the plane or are you going to be here? uh yeah, it was that balance that I really needed. And when COVID hit, it really made me realize how much I was pouring into work over every other part of my life. Now it's beautiful to be able to help people find that balance themselves.
It's interesting for me. Entrepreneurship is like, whenever I hear the word balance, I wonder if either is it possible or am I doing it wrong? Because I
Mhm.
just find it's like a tapestry. There's just a little bit of, there's not really like, oh, I'm this or that, but it does allow
Yes.
you space. It creates a spaciousness around your 16 hours, right? Your 16
Well,
weeks.
yes, because I work just as much, right?
Yeah,
Like
or more.
it's like I thought I was going to have more time, but you do end up the flexibility to work your own schedule is what's really grounding for me in this experience
Yeah,
of
the ability to
entrepreneurship.
say like, he's got a game, so I just
Right.
won't schedule any clients during that time, and I'll move my admin to the evening and whatever. That's, I think, what I love most about entrepreneurship. What has been, from your perspective, maybe the most surprising challenge you've bumped into in making the transition?
Oh, being setting up my own accountability. I was so surprised that after being an executive, that when I had my own schedule to manage and my own time to manage, I struggled so much for the first like 6 months on how to put my schedule together, what to do on what days, where to put my energy, like what would my strat plan look like, which should, I really
Right.
don't have one. But that was my biggest surprise was, wow, I could manage teams of hundreds of people and I can't managing myself. Like, I had to start having these conversations with myself of like, what would you tell your employee? Because when you're an entrepreneur, a lot of times in the beginning, you're doing everything, the things
Right.
you like and don't like. So like, I'd be like, oh, I don't want to do that. So I'd put it off, but then it was like something that had to be done.
Mhm.
So that was my biggest surprise, is all these self-talk moments I'd have with myself, because it was just me, myself, and I. And I'd be like, okay, Melissa, you have got to do this social media content, even though it may not be what you feel comfortable with. Really
Hallelujah
pushing myself
AI,
out of
man.
those comfort zones.
Hallelujah AI, right? Like
Right, right now.
suddenly I can do things that I've never been
Mhm.
able to do before. And not because I have AI do it for me, but because
Right.
I have a teacher on demand, right? Like
Exactly.
I have an editor on demand. And not that it's always correct. And sometimes it's a little sycophantic, but it's amazing. And when you were saying like I can manage hundreds of employees, what came to my mind was the internal family systems approach to internal healing, and then the Disney movie Inside Out. And I started thinking like, oh my God, I am a team of 100 employees, but I didn't hire them. Like
Yeah.
somebody gave them to me and now they're mine to manage. And there's no getting rid of them, which is the worst part. You're like, oh my gosh, I have to manage this motley crew of
Mhm.
whatever in my psyche and then show up like a sane human.
Yeah, it's
I,
so true.
I find it entertaining. So, talk to me a little bit about who do you specifically help? Who are the people that come and hire you, and what is the problem that they are trying to solve?
Most of the individuals who come to me are folks who are stuck in survival mode rather than thriving in their life. Usually they're struggling with self worth or breaking old patterns that are keeping them stuck in situations that they're unhappy with. Individuals who want to have healthier relationships first with themselves so that they can extend that out into other relationships in their life. Uh, so, and I do focus a lot. I am trauma informed, and based on my own experience with trauma and recovery, I work a lot with folks who have been through some traumatic events or who are recovering from some kind of substance abuse.
Mm. I'm going to ask this question. It's just a loaded
Mhm.
question, so feel free to be like not going there because I'm okay.
Okay.
The word trauma
Hmm.
has become a bit of an empty buzzword, like the word
Yeah.
value, like add value, right? So there's this notion that everybody has trauma. And I'm like, no, I grew up with alcoholic parents and and I was poor, blah, blah, blah. And I have a history. I'm like, but I didn't like have to choose between, I don't know, offing a child that had a bomb strapped to it or losing it, like having an entire village whoop. Like that to me, I'm like, that would be trauma. This was like life.
Right.
So what now, but I do know in my own work with my clients that there are times when I'm like, why is it that I'm a power through and other people are just like stopped in their tracks? And I'm like, well, because we've had different life experiences. I grew
Sure.
up and I grew up and I had to power through because wasn't nobody going to take care of me. And yet other people have a very similar experience and get stuck. Is that all trauma in your book? Or like, how do you define it in a way that is sensible but doesn't allow us to settle it? Well, it's just because I have this trauma. And so, because the
Yeah,
worst thing for entrepreneurs.
I agree. I hear what you're saying, because it is definitely become a like word, I guess. And I'm a wordy, so I like to
Yeah.
use the right word. So what I focus on with people is it's any event that is stuck in the body that is causing us to pattern in a way that doesn't allow us to feel like we're thriving in our life. Like we're in this constant cycle of repeating things that don't feel or that don't give us passion or joy or happiness in our lives. Like when we're in this complete state of performance over actually being who we want to be. Mm-hmm. And that event can be different for each individual. You're absolutely right. And how we internalize that and deal with it is different for everyone.
So it sounds to me that it's in terms of like definitionally, right? It really is how it affects how an event affects our ability to function, move forward, and become who we most desire to be.
Yeah.
And so that opens up my eyes, because I'm just like, yeah, I'm just thinking that like my thing isn't that, but for some people it is that.
And my goal is for people to not like stay in that event. It's like, okay, let's get rid of it. Like my techniques are not about sitting down and reliving all of these things that we went through. It's about, I use kinesiology, which is muscle testing, to test into your body to see where things, like when you tell me what's blocking you, say it's I have low self-esteem, I look for where that's stored in your body, and we use acupressure points to release it. And then I teach you other mechanisms to sustain that integration into your life so that pattern can be changed. So it's a very active and participatory session. It comes with education, it comes with empowerment, and it allows you to take control of and get rid of the things that are holding you back. Yeah. Without sitting in your shit.
Which I deeply appreciate that, because as somebody who did, decades of yap therapy, and there's studies that are starting to come out now that are indicative of what do they say, neurons that wire together, fire together, whatever. And that the more you talk about a thing, the deeper the rut you create. So you create
right.
And it becomes more and more and more and more ingrained, to the point that you actually get addicted to the story, because the story creates a cascade of hormones and chemicals inside your body that start to make you feel normal. Whether that's a normal high stress, like always be stressed, always be on guard, always fawn, always flee, right? It becomes our default state. And in entrepreneurs, any of those default states do not help you make money.
No, they don't. No, they don't. So we got to remove those blocks.
And I love the fact that you just talking about it being somatic, that it's you can release it without that. And that's been my experience personally. My experience is that if I can release it from my body, I can release it, and I can actually release it without language in between it.
No, right, exactly. You just need to know where it's stored, and you need to learn. Like our body is a fortress of information for us. It's about connecting the mind with the body. Like I did a lot of work when I first started in my own healing journey of, like you said, talk to therapy. Then I did meditation for a while, which did help me control my thoughts, but my body was still reacting to things. And I needed to figure out how to rewire my nervous system. So that's the other component that's usually missing in a lot of methodologies. And without that, then you kind of stay stuck.
Yeah. And it could be a both and, right? But I definitely, and I also wonder, it might also be how a person's wired as well, right? Maybe talk therapy works for some people, but the storage of stress and narratives and karmic whatever in the body is a thing, right? And so I'm curious, how do you work with people? So an entrepreneur, because you work predominantly with entrepreneurs, yes? Or are you working with predominantly women? Or
I work with entrepreneurs and women who want to get out of survival mode. So I have both sets of clientele.
Okay. So if someone comes to you and they're just stuck, what does it look like? They're like, Melissa, fix me. What do you do with them? What does it look like to work with you?
Well, first of all, I don't fix anybody. They do the work. I simply hold the container.
I want you to.
So FYI, don't come to me if you want me to fix you, because that's not my job. I teach you what to do for your own self. We sit down and we assess where the areas are that need to be addressed and decide what program I have works best for you. So I have a couple of different methodologies that I can use. Now my signature program is the what I call the Align method, where I use the acupressure points and the kinesiology. I also have a whole component of human design where you can learn to work better in your energy with other methodologies included in that. And I always include somatic work with everything. So each session includes an assessment of where the key areas that are impacting your problem statement. So whatever your area of concern is, we break it down into a couple of components, and then we clear out those areas in your body energetically. And then every client has integration work, because we have to integrate in what we're learning, right?
Yeah.
So that's where you've got to be a partner with whoever's helping you. You need to want to be able to apply it in your life. And everything I do is I teach people how their body and mind are working and what they need to do to keep them aligned to work together. Because there is a bridge, right? If you're overriding everything with your mind, you're disconnected from your body. It's the same with the body. So I teach everyone how to include the mind, body, and spirit all in one session.
Yeah, I love that. And I think we do compartmentalize. And it's funny, I have deemed a character in my brain. Her name is Thinky Brain. And that, yeah, whenever I'm disconnected from my body, Thinky Brain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then, right. And typically what I find super interesting is that when I catch it and I go, Thinky Brain, what if we didn't have to solve it? What if the answer was coming? What if the answer was just coming? And then I'm like, then I can just say, show me, and let it unfold. And it has released so much of the drive. Like, I want to say I'm driven, okay, but the idea of hustling and grinding and work harder, and right, that ethos comes out of Thinky Brain. And it's an ethos that's designed to keep us out of our body and out of flow. But when we're in our body, and when our body is content, our body feels honored, and our body feels cherished, and our body feels loved. Like if we took the marriage vows with ourselves, and we loved ourselves, and we honored ourselves, and we cherished ourselves, and we held ourselves, and we had ourselves from time to time, yes. and we didn't forsake ourselves. If we married ourselves and we treated our body as a relationship with our body as a marriage covenant, man, it's so much easier when you're honoring the covenant, and you make the covenant with yourself first, and then you can make the covenant with others.
And it's so ironic that you say that, because that is actually one of the modules in my program is writing vows to yourself, because that is absolutely what we get clarity on, is how you can honor yourself so that all of your relationships have flow to them, including your business, your business flow, your family flow. It's about learning how to honor your boundaries, yourself more, so that everything else comes into alignment, right? It's about aligning energies. And then what will happen is you naturally bring in those things that are in alignment with you when you're aligned with yourself.
Right.
So it's about being rather than doing. When you learn how to be, you don't have to spin your wheels like we're taught to do over and over again. Like, our worth is not measured on what we do, except if we buy into society.
Except it is when you're looking for external validation. But that's the whole point of what you're talking about, is really discovering how to make and keep a covenant with yourself. And
Yes.
I have a friend who's a pastor, and one time he said to me, I just want to thank you for breaking the commandments. And I was like, what? And he said,
I'm all
yeah,
about that.
because, I'm your neighbor. And if you loved me the way you love you, I would move. Right?
Totally. Right.
If you loved me the way you love you, peace out, man, because there is no possible way I would tolerate being treated the way you treat you. Saying, if you said the things that you say to you to me, I would not be in relationship with you. And it was a big eye opener to me that I had never been taught to love me, to be okay, like to do that first, to develop that covenant relationship inside me. And I think that as an entrepreneur, when you make that covenant with yourself, then you have ease with which to make covenants with others. You can say yes, you can say no. Your yes is yes, your no is no. And when you say no, it's a covenant, it's out of respect. It's not, that's all it is. It's, I respect you enough to not make an agreement with you that I'm not going to fulfill.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. So you have a book. Talk a little bit about your book.
Yeah. So the reason I wrote this book, and a couple of things I wanted to say to all the entrepreneurs out there, is one of my stumbling blocks was coming clear with my own identity as a business owner, right? So I was like, oh, am I going to be the woo woo? Am I going to be this? Am I going to be that? Can I really be who I am in this business, right? So when I stepped into my true power and I came up with Raw, which was like, this is me. I'm edgy, I'm direct, I know how to stand in my worth. I want to help other people do the same. And what I found was a lot of times when we're in growth spurts, we're grabbing this resource, we're grabbing this one, then we're this. And it's kind of like a train, right? Everybody's on the self-improvement train. And they think there's an end game, and this journey is ongoing, right? We're always kind of discovering new parts of ourselves, I hope, anyway, because
Right.
you're living. I created this book. It's called Real Talk for Self-Discovery, and it's a no bullshit workbook for getting unapologetic about who you are.
I love that.
And it's just straight up talk about, like, what is it that you want to change? What do you want to do about it? What are you willing to do? It's got practical tools. So it's got journaling in it. It's got somatic activities. It's got all of the things in it. And it's a lifetime book. So the goal is for you to continue to grow, right? So you might go back to different chapters. And so the first chapter is the journey to self-discovery. Let's cut through the bullshit. You're being real about who you are. How many of us can really get real about who we are, and where we want to let go of all of these expectations that were imposed upon us and live for who you want to live for, which is yourself.
And I do like that concept. It's very difficult, particularly, I don't know how old you are, but as a woman of my age, I was raised in an age where I was supposed to be a good girl, and I was supposed to be agreeable. And my mama dressed me up in crinolines and little Bobby Brown, Mary Jane shoes. And I knew to speak when spoken to. And I was raised by greatest generation parents, right? So I'm a baby boomer by age. And I learned at some point, I found my voice, but the challenge of finding your voice when you've been trained like that was I was very power over. So I was sort of like in that movie Dances with Wolves, I would have been Stands with Fists.
Yeah.
And learning to relax and learning to be powerful and to be who you are and understand that you're not going to please all the people all the time. And you're going to please some people most of the time, but you're never going to please all of the people all of the time. And we are so blessed to live in a part of the world where we as women do get to be unapologetic about who we are. So that is just, it's a real blessing that I'm grateful for every single day. Let's talk business.
Mhm.
What is your go-to for finding clients?
I have found for me that getting out in the community and networking with, like, my first funnel was my gym. I went to this all women's gym, and I built all these relationships. And when I opened my business, I was networking with them, and then I would do events at the gym to build a name for myself. A lot of my business is mostly organic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then once that kind of, I call it plateauing. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of exhaust a resource. I joined a business networking event for women that I go to every month, and they have different speakers, and then I collaborate. People, like, that is the best way to get your name out there, is collaborating with other business owners. And you can also learn wonderful things from other people sometimes, like things you hadn't thought about. Going to events has been really helpful for me. And reaching out to other business owners, other women, small business owners, if I feel stuck, do you have anything going on that I can come to?
Right.
Like, don't be afraid. Like, I always say, like, don't be afraid to make the call. Pick up the phone and call people. The phone still works, just so everyone knows. The phone still works. There's this thing now where we're so disconnected from our community. Like, people really do thrive in community. Your business thrives in community. So when you're creating community, and I ask my clients, can you refer for me? Can you tell people that you had a good experience? Don't be afraid to ask people for that. And when I started out, I was so shy about it. I was like, oh, I shouldn't ask. I shouldn't ask. It was stupid. Like, people want to promote you. You just have to ask them. It's not like they think about it. Okay, well, this is a small business owner who has a small marketing budget, so I need to go give her a Google review. You have to
Right.
ask for those things. You got to say, tell your friends about me, because um, I'm a small business owner, and people love to support you. Like, especially when you've done a good job for them, right? They want help.
Yeah.
So
And we're
ask
so
people.
afraid of getting the no. What I learned, I was out with my grandson this one time, and we're at this fair, and there's a million things he gets to do because I bought the all-inclusive pass. You could do anything you wanted to do. But he wanted the dinosaur lightsaber. And I was like, I'm not buying you a dinosaur lightsaber. There's all of these things for you to do. You don't need a toy. This is an experience. And
Right.
he threw himself on the ground, and he threw it a fit and whatever. And the friend that I was with was like, man, you're focusing on the one no when you got 99 yeses surrounding you. And
Yeah.
I think that keeps us from picking up the phone because we're afraid of the no, but there's 99 yeses waiting for us somewhere.
Mhm.
And if we all were on an adventure, like they talk about golden retrievers, right? A golden retriever comes into a crowd of people. He just walks around until somebody scratches his ear. And when that person's done scratching his ear, he just walks to some other people and waits for them to scratch his ear. He's not really butthurt because somebody doesn't scratch his ear. He just goes and finds a yes.
Mhm. Right.
We
Right.
need to be golden retrievers
We
for sure.
do. We
For
do.
sure. What's your number
Yeah.
one networking pet peeve?
Pet peeve.
Yeah.
I would say when people don't have a clear business, like, when they're like, well, I do this, or I do this, and I do that, and I do this, and I do this, and you still don't know what they do.
Okay, so just so you know, Melissa, every time you meet one of those people, that's a great referral for me. Okay.
It's like, okay, so who are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. And okay, another pet peeve is if you go to a networking event and you don't talk to people. You got to talk to people. Like, do the uncomfortable conversations. Go up and introduce yourself. Like, and if you are someone who goes to the same events and you have a clique, invite other people in. Like,
Mhm.
you remember that you've been there too, where you're the new one in the room when everyone else has kind of like a flow together. open your arms for people.
I love that. Robbie Samuels wrote a book called Bagels and Croissants. And so it's all about networking, and whether you're like a bagel, so you're all standing like a bagel, all closed up, or whether you're a croissant, because if you stand in a crescent shape, you're inviting people in, right? So it was all about networking and how to invite people in. And it's just structural. It isn't that difficult. And one person in the bagel can create the croissant, right? One person can open up just by moving, like booping bodies and getting everybody to make space for people. I love that. What's your personal biggest struggle finding clients and in using networking as a primary driver for that?
Talking about how I help people. Coming from a space where I was schooled, and this is a pattern that I'm breaking, I was schooled to be humble, right? I grew up in this Catholic area where you have to be humble about everything. Being an entrepreneur is standing strong in what you can do and the outcomes you can provide for people, and how you personally can help them. And sometimes that feels like a lot of weight. Like I'm like, okay, yeah, I can blah 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 blah. Yeah, there are days where that still struggles, like that voice is still there. Like strength comes with humility, but in your own business, you have to be able to stand strong in saying what you can accomplish with people and helping them.
Yeah. So can I give you a little tip on that one?
Yes.
I might be able to solve it for you in the next 3 minutes.
I'm here.
Replace humility with curiosity. So whenever that feeling like I can't really talk about what I do comes up, the easier thing to do is get curious about someone else. And so when I'm training people to network, I train them to ask the question. If it's someone that I know, that I'm familiar with, I'm going to ask, hey, what's going on in your business right now? What are you challenged with right now? I'd love to be of service. Super easy. What are you challenged with right now? I'd love to be of service. And that service could be, I could personally help you. I can introduce you to somebody who can help you. Maybe I have a book or a resource or whatever. And when people start to realize like, hey, if you have a problem, go to Melissa, because she's not going to push her stuff on you, number one. And number two, she knows everybody. So she'll just introduce you. She'll point you in the right direction. Or she's a reader. She'll get you a good book. Or she like is a YouTube fanatic and knows 6 billion people and what they do and how they can help. Like the woman can quote TED Talks as if she were a librarian, you know? So when people get to know you as that, they start to come talk to you more and ask you for help. And the more you do that, and you're not giving away your soul, right? You're not giving away anything, then they want to know how they can help you. And that's when you get to say, well, what I'm really looking for is I want to meet Melissa McGillicuddy over at the Women's Progress Center or whatever that is, right? So curiosity over humility, because I think curiosity is an expression of humility. You matter. Right now, you matter. I don't want to matter right now. You matter. And then the other thing is when I find out that I'm kind of talking to a prospect. So they start talking and I'm thinking, okay, they should come do the connectors code. Like, now I'm kind of in a pickle, right? Typically I get curious and I ask some questions like, well, wow, that sounds really challenging. What have you tried already? Oh yeah. Okay. Did that work? No, it didn't. Oh, that must be really frustrating. What else did you try? Well, I tried this other thing. Did that work? No, it didn't work. Must be frustrating. So where are you now? Are you like just giving up, or are you still looking for solutions? And usually people will say I mean, if I could find a solution, I would. And then I say, because that's kind of what I do.
Gotcha.
And then I shut up. I go, wow, if you're still looking for a solution, just know that's kind of what I do. It's kind of my thing.
Yeah.
And they'll either move on, oh, that's interesting, and start talking about themselves because they actually don't want to solve the problem. Or they'll open up the conversation. Well, what do you do? Wait for it, you get humble again and you say, well, let me ask you a question. When that thing didn't work, what about it? Like didn't work for you? Like what about it wasn't good? And when that didn't work, what about that wasn't good? Oh yeah, I could totally see that. So what do you wish they had done? Oh, great. Perfect. So that's what we do. Like they do, I just ask them enough questions to tell me that they already want to buy what I do because I already fix all the problems that they've already had. And you never have to talk about yourself.
I love that.
You never have to talk about yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to try that. I have a
Just keep,
networking meeting next week. I'm going to try that.
just keep asking questions. Keep asking questions. Another really good one to be as a conversation opener is, oh, hey, you're new. I haven't met you before. What brought you to the, like, what made you decide to join the chamber? How long have you been in the chamber? A year. I haven't met you before. How long have you been a member here? They'll tell you they're a member or they're not a member. Oh, this is your first meeting, so you're not a member yet. What are you looking for? What are you looking for in a network? You know, just what are you looking for? What are you looking for? That level of curiosity wins over telling people what you do all day long, because quite frankly, nobody actually cares what we do.
I would agree with that. They just want to know what they need.
They want you to know what they do.
Yeah. Very true.
That's what they want. And there's do you know who Chet Holmes was? He wrote a book called The Ultimate Sales Machine. It was all about education-based marketing, which is pretty much what we all do now. But back in the 90s, whoa, pioneer, right? And he has this thing called a buying triangle. And he says, in any given room of your ideal prospect, like your audience, so you're in your audience, like you're in a room full of midlife women. Okay. Entrepreneurs, midlife women entrepreneurs, big room of midlife women entrepreneurs. About 3% of the people in that room are feeling stuck and looking for a solution, right? 7% are feeling stuck, but the pain of change has not outweighed the pain of staying stuck. Like this, they know that they're stuck, but it doesn't I'm stuck-ish. So they're your people for the future. They're the ones that are like, well, you know, hedge. You're like, yeah, I might someday, might whenever. And those 7% of people you need somebody to partner with you to push them over the edge, because you can't sell them, because then you're just the smarmy salesperson because they're not looking for you yet. And then there's like 30% of the people that don't even know they're stuck. They're habitually unsuccessful, but they don't actually know that they're stuck.
Seen that. Yeah.
Then there's 30% that are stuck and just don't care, and 30% who are already working with somebody. So, right. And so they don't need you. They have a solution that they're happy with. They're doing hypnosis, they're tapping, they're working with a therapist, they've got a coach, whatever. They're not open to look at anything new. When you're in a room, if you think about, okay, I'm in this room and my job is to figure out which of these people, one, might be ready for me, and two, could be partners for me. They know why they're here, and they do something for these women that I don't do. So that then when I'm walking around the room, I can network for other people, not for myself, and other people can network for me. When you work it that way, you get 3 times the opportunity. You get access not only to the 3% who are ready for you, but the 7% who know they're stuck. They just haven't started solution seeking yet. And the chamber director or a business associate can say, oh, you need to go talk to Melissa and get that fixed. She's amazing. They can push them into active, and you can do the same thing for them. So it's way easier to have a buddy, a wing person, and network for each other instead of networking for yourself.
I love that.
Yeah, it's huge. Been doing it for like 20 years, and I'm an introvert. So when I go to events, I sit on a chair with a glass of Chardonnay and a plate of cheese, and people bring people to me. And then I send them to other people. Like I do. Somebody's like, oh man, here's Susan. I'm like, yeah, take Bethany over there to meet Fred, because she really needs to meet Fred. Like that. I don't even move. Mm-hmm. I'm like the queen bee of networking. It's crazy. So let me ask this question. Do you have a top of mind question that you would like answered? If not, that's okay.
Oh, I think you gave me great advice just now. I don't have any other questions.
All right. Well, good.
Love
Well, if
that.
that's useful, that's awesome. Tell me about your workbook. So we have a free gift for the listener. It's a special workbook that's going to help them get over themselves in some way, form, or fashion. Talk a little bit about what that is.
Yeah, so Embrace Your Authentic Self workbook is just really peeling back the onion and getting in touch with who you really want to be, through some journaling and some straight talk from me about like not worrying about what the room wants you to be, but what you want to be,
Mhm.
and just standing in your power more. So
I love it. So we're going to go ahead. Thank you very much, Melissa, for donating that to our gift vault. So we will have that there for our listener. And your book, it's on Amazon.
it is on Amazon.
All
Yes.
right. So remind everybody
Yes.
of the title.
It is raw. So the real talk for self-discovery, a no bullshit guide workbook for getting unapologetic about who you are. And if you just hit raw Melissa Bishop, it'll come up.
And Melissa has two S's, just in case, listener,
Oh
you're
yeah.
wondering, and you're going to do Amazon while you're walking on the treadmill. All right. I'm going to go out and grab it because I'm very curious about what is in there and for who that book is for, right? I'm really super curious about it. And I want to thank you so much for being on the show today, Melissa. Any last thoughts for our listener today?
Just stand in who you are and know that if you're not in alignment with people, that's okay. Your people will be your people, and everybody else can go off and do their thing.
And go be somewhere else.
Yes.
Yes. Yay. All
Okay.
right. So, listener, thanks for tuning in. I know you got a lot of value from what Melissa had to share today. And you can get even more value from Melissa by jumping into the gift vault and grabbing her Embrace Your Authority, Your Authentic Self workbook. Or even better, if you enjoyed this podcast and you want to support Melissa, head out to Amazon and get her book. But wait, you don't just stop at getting the book. Read a couple of chapters, go back out to Amazon, give her a 5-star review, and mention one thing that you really liked about the book to prove to the bots that, yes, you did read something in the book. So that is just another way to reward our guests for providing great information and giving their time to us today. So again, Melissa, thank you so much. And listener, thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't grabbed your Business by Referral blueprint, go out to masterconnectors.com/blueprint and jump on it, because after you download the blueprint, there's a brand new secret prize for you. So go grab your blueprint, masterconnectors.com/blueprint, and see what the prize is waiting for you on the other side. And until we meet again, be remarkable.